Bible One is a required award for Busy Bees Investiture Achievement. This award is an introduction to using their Bibles, a few biblical events, and most importantly, God's incredible love for each of them. They will start a Bible timeline, and over the next 4 years, they will continue to fill it in with key events. Ideally, each adventure has their own Bible. They'll need it at meetings to look up Bible verses. Each club will want to handle this requirement in whatever manner makes the most sense for their families and for their church. In my club, we give each Busy Bee and every adventurer older than Busy Bees a Bible at induction. When we request that they bring their Bible to each meeting, we know that this requirement isn't going to cause any kind of hardships for any of our families. Another local club doesn't give out Bibles at induction because their Sabbath school class gives the kids a Bible. When my oldest was a Busy Bee, we were in a different club, and his teacher just told us, hey, you need a Bible to complete this requirement. So I took him to a Christian bookstore and helped him pick out his first Bible. Use whichever route works for your church and your club. Ideally, you'll have Bibles available for requirements 2 and 3, but they could be club Bibles or Bibles that you borrow from the Sabbath school class at your church. This is a simple discussion with the kids. I have a list of ideas, but I bet you and your kids won't have any trouble thinking up ideas about how it is best to treat a Bible. If you like workbook pages, you'll enjoy the one in the Busy Bee workbook. If your class isn't into worksheets, you can simply talk. So some ideas for this conversation might be, should you use your Bible as a coaster? What about under a table leg to level up the table? When stacked, our Bible belongs on top. However, we also want to protect our Bible, so setting it on top of a tippy stack of smaller books might not actually be the most respectful way to treat our Bible. When I pack my Bible in a backpack, I like to place it between 2 other books to protect it. And we might also talk about how thin our pages are and how that we want to turn the pages gently to take care that we don't dog-ear the pages. Have each Busy Bee pull out their Bible and find the first book of the Bible. Many Bibles will tell the author of each book on the first page of that book. If their Bibles do, then they can discover which book is first and who wrote it, and the last book and who is commonly credited with it. And just in case you're not certain, that would be Abraham for Genesis and John for Revelation. For requirement 4, we're going to want to tell or act out the following stories: creation, the first sin, Jesus cares for me today, Jesus comes again, and heaven. This section of the word is the most time-consuming part. I like to break this up over multiple weeks. I read one Bible story at the beginning of each meeting. My favorite Bible story book is the Jesus Storybook Bible. And for Jesus Cares for Me Today, we read about Daniel in the lion's den, and then we talk about how Jesus' angels protect us now, just like they protected Daniel. While I'm reading, the Busy Bees will be coloring the corresponding pictures. The pictures are in the Busy Bee workbook, which is also a free download at Club Ministries. I have also shrunken the pictures to the size of trading cards. And you can learn more about these and get the download on my website. So they are just little, so they don't take very long to color. And this way they have the ability to collect them over 4 years. And they can also pull them out and put them into orders. My son started this, looks like as a helping hand, so that's why most of his are not actually colored. Next up, memory verses. You're going to locate, read, and discuss 3 of the following memory verses about Jesus' love. and memorize and repeat 2 of them. So the options are John 3:16, Psalm 91:11, John 14:3, Psalm 23:1, and a verse of your choice. I break this up over a number of meetings as well. We start by using our Bibles to read the verse. And most of the busy bees are not strong readers or readers at all. However, we can start to teach them how to use their Bibles even at this stage. One of my goals in Adventures is to teach kids to get comfortable with their Bibles. We like to start this in Busy Bees. And when I first started teaching Busy Bees, I was really intimidated because I'm like, these kids aren't reading yet. How am I supposed to get them learning how to look up verses in the Bible? They can't read. And I was really intimidated by this. But fortunately, I had a co-director who was wonderful, and she taught me how to do this. I've used the same technique every year. And sometimes I have new readers, sometimes I don't, but I have kids who are still new to the Bible. And honestly, even our kids who have been using the Bible for years, they still usually are having trouble with the verses. So I want to show you what I do. To start with, I like to have the verse written on a whiteboard. This way they can keep seeing it, and they may not be reading well yet, but they can match, right? So they can look at their Bible and be like, is this the right book? It also helps them not have to keep all of it in their memory at a time. They can just start focusing on the book, and then we'll add in the verse. So I like to have this written, and it's just sitting there so they can keep referencing it. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to teach them a few tricks. And of course, make sure they have a Bible. We do like to use all the same Bible in my club. It makes it much simpler. And obviously, we could just tell them the page number and they could look it up very quickly. But again, we're trying to teach them skills. So since this is John, it's in the New Testament. And this is how I would start with. I'd be like, hey, this is John. That's in the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. All right. I want to be pointing these things out to them. A trick I learned a few years ago that it still feels like magic to me is that if you take your Bible and you hold it up like this, and you go to about halfway, I didn't quite get it this time, about halfway, you'll end up usually in Psalms. You might end up in Proverbs, but you're going to end up pretty close to Psalms. All right? So from there, I'm going to hold my Bible up again, and I'm going to split it about halfway. It sometimes works well. And if I do it right, I'm going to end up in the New Testament. I'm in Matthew this time. Sometimes I'm in Matthew, sometimes I'm a little directional. It goes both ways. But so if I have a kid who's doing this, I'm going to walk them through this just like this. And I'll be like, okay, you're in Matthew. Okay, but we want John. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. So these are kind of bigger books. So we're going to take some bigger clumps of paper. Gently, the papers are fragile. Matthew, Mark, good. Keep going. Mark, Luke, excellent. All right, you got one more book to go. All right, a little farther in Luke. There's John, excellent. And then I'm going to point out, see these numbers up here? Okay, so we are looking for John 3. This is a 3, excellent. So now we want to look for our big green numbers because in this Bible, the chapters are in green, right there. So, all right, you found John 3. Now we want John 3:16. So look at your little tiny black numbers and find the 16. And when you find it, I want you to stick your finger on it and I want you to wait for the rest of the class. And then I go on to help another kid. When we have lots of adults in the room, they can all be helping. After each child has found the verse, I read it out loud. If the class is reading well, we can read it all together in chorus. After we read the verse, then we discuss it. Who's speaking? Do we understand the words? What's the point of this verse? After we understand what the point of the verse is, then we start our memorization process. For this award, I used 2 games, Memory Verse Erase and Memory Verse Catch. And I have a whole video about how I like to teach memorization through repetition using these games and several others, and I will link that at the very end of the video for you. We chose to read John 3:16, John 14:3, and Psalm 91:11, and then we memorized John 3:16 and John 14:3. This year we use Lego and blocks to illustrate a Bible story instead of using felts. The club has a bin of foam blocks, and I borrowed some of my kids' Lego. We reviewed all the stories we read this year before we started building. I encouraged the Busy Bees to build whatever story they wanted. The kids got to choose their building medium. Fortunately, there was an even divide between the blocks and the Lego. And I gave them about 10 minutes to build. And yes, I did time them. After the building, we went around the circle, and each person, kids and adults, because we had parents involved as well, showed off their creation, and they told the Bible story that inspired their build. The kids enjoyed this activity, and it was exciting to see how much they remembered. Neither the Lego nor the blocks had any people or animals, and nobody seemed to mind. It just made them get more creative when they needed to depict people. I break up this award over 5 or more weeks. To keep track of where each Busy Bee is in finishing their requirements, I use a printed checklist that I just keep in my Busy Bee notebook. After the meeting, I check off what we finished that night. And you can find the editable Google Sheet on my website at Laura's Adventure Resources. So if you need some help getting organized, you can use it too. What is your favorite way to help kids memorize verses from the Bible? I would love to hear about it. I'd also love to hear about what you do for teaching Bible 1. So please leave your comment down below and let me know what you do. I would love to be able to learn from you. And if you have any questions about teaching Bible 1 or anything about adventures, let me know. I'd love to know that too. So leave me a comment, and I can't wait to hear from you. See you next week. Bye.